Hello everyone and welcome to this video. And look, France just played a beautiful soccer out there against Brazil, and the match was just so entertaining and it was so technical in the part of France, of course, because France they play with an incredible tiki-taka style, and more than that, they were pressuring Brazil. They were pushing, they were running for the ball, and they were doing it in a really smart way. They had almost four guys in the first defensive line of Brazil, so Brazil always had to go and pass back to the keeper. So later the keeper would like blow the ball off to the strikers. He will do like a long pass because he doesn't have nobody else to pass. That type of pressure was France doing, that the keeper had to shoot the ball up and see any luck if somebody in Brazil got the ball. So after of that, France, what they were doing, pressuring the ball, and after getting the ball back million of times, after getting a ton of steals, the counter attack of France was really dangerous. It was really fast. It was just incredible and beautiful to see. Of course, those counterattacks were led by Olise, the guy from the Bayern Munich, if I'm not wrong. He just played really well at the midfield position. He was taking the right choices all the time, and setting up their teammates perfectly. And look, the first goal of Mbappe just played ridiculous well this match. He just went out there and played Mbappe. He played his own game. He was fast, and every time he had the opportunity to strike, he did it. And the first goal he made, it was out of a pass of Dembele. He was open, he ran, and later, boom, he floats the ball, beautiful to see under the keeper. The keeper couldn't do nothing. Later, Ikitike in the second half, he scores. Later of that, Mbappe assists him, and same goal. It wasn't the same, of course, but it was the same idea. Ikitike was close to the keeper, and boom, he just put it a little bit up, and beautiful goal. Brazil in the aspect, first half, it was really bad for Brazil. They were driving the ball, and Vinicius Jr. was trying to do his thing, and of course Rafinha tried too. But the thing is, they were trying a lot of long shots, and they didn't stand a chance against France in the first half. Later in the second half, Rafinha got a switch by Luis Enrique, and look, Enrique, he's winning his spot in the World Cup because he plays so well. He was driving, doing the 1v1s, and he was successfully doing a really good job. He did a couple of right crosses. He made the right plays. He was literally like a Neymar out there. He was, dribble the ball, passing one, two defenders, creating occasions. And look, in the first half, of course, France was really dominant. They played really well. The Mbappe scores in the first half. But in the second half, of course, Ancelotti said to the guys in halftime, like, "Hey, what are you guys doing? You guys have to pressure more. You have because in the first half, Vinicius and Rafinha, they were pressuring, but Brazil, their other teammates weren't follow them. But Vinicius were all there alone, pressuring for the ball, running for the ball, but the other guys were just like walking. So Ancelotti said that to them, and later of halftime, in the second half, they start pressuring more for the ball. They start running more for the ball, and France, they were in problems. They had a little bit of shots. They have really good opportunities, but later in minute 65, Mbappe sets up with a really great pass, Ekitike, and he finished the job with another goal. Later of that, Brazil lose momentum, but it's a friendly match, and Mbappe, he supposedly is injured, but he played like he didn't was injured. So Ikitike and Mbappe they switch by other two players. One of them was making his professional debut in France, so Mbappe and Ekitike they can get some rest. I don't know if Mbappe got switched because he needed a break or because he just was he has like a minute restriction or something like that. The thing is he played really well, and if he's injured, imagine what he can do at 100%. And France, of course, counter attacks, they play beautifully. Adrian Rabiot, he always play good when he has the France jersey. He did the right plays all the time. And one interesting fact is that N'Golo Kante is playing in France after his time in Arabia Saudite. He goes to France. He plays in France and he plays really well. He plays like 20 or 30 minutes or so, and he was really significant. Upamecano, this big defender from the Bayern Munich, he was just incredible. His presence was really huge in there. Unfortunately, he had a red card for a foul that he did. Wesley was driving and he was like all alone, so Upamecano just like literally jumped him, and he got the red card because Wesley was like all alone. So later of that, they get Kante in the field. Brazil couldn't do almost nothing because when a player has a red card, you have to put a player that can run for two players, and that was N'Golo Kante. N'Golo Kante did an excellent job. Everybody in France in general, they did a really excellent job. I compare this match, France and Brazil, because France is like a incredible audio machine that works. They already have chemistry, they just have to give solution to some details in these friendly matches before the World Cup. But they have chemistry together, they play incredible, they pressure the ball, they go for the ball, and later when they get it, they are killers in the counter attack. And Brazil, they are finding their identity with Ancelotti, because Ancelotti, this is his sixth match with the Brazilian squad, and he's like figuring stuff out. And the squad is four guys that made his debut today. So that means that Brazil squad is not fully done yet, because it's a lot of young players that got to play in the Brazil squad for the first time. And where they debut. So of course Ancelotti, he's gonna use these friendly matches to figure stuff out, to give an identity to Brazil, because believe me, these Brazil teams, they have Rafinha, Vinicius Junior, Casemiro, and they have Anderson, keeper with experience, and which is really good. He has a lot of talent, and they have a lot of big names, and they have a combination of talent and experience, and they just have to figure stuff out, find their identity, and be themselves, find an identity for them to play and start winning more games and be ready for the World Cup. So I hope in these friendly matches Brazil figures that out, and for France, they just have to figure some stuff out. Very little is like two small mistakes. For example, the rotation, they have to finish setting up the last squad for the World Cup, and they are finding that out with these friendly matches and building more chemistry and more chemistry. But this match was just beautiful. The counter attacks of France were beautiful to see, and Mbappe, he's just a killer. Ekitike, he's a young promise of France. He has played 3 matches with the France team, and he scores 2 goals in those 3 matches. So Ekitike is a really good striker. Mbappe is just Mbappe. They have Ousmane Dembele, that he was quiet today, he didn't play that well, but they are going to figure that out too. They have a lot of big names, and they are gonna find out a way to make these three big names work: Ousmane Dembele, Mbappe, and Ekitike. So when they figure that out, believe me, France is gonna be a big problem. And well, Brazil, let's hope they find out and find an identity and they start winning more games, because today they show a lot of hustle. They show, you know, those little uh, times of talent, because they almost tied the game 2-2 at the last minute, but they couldn't. So they have a lot of stuff to figure out, and let's hope they do and they start winning games. Other than that, I don't have nothing to say. Please go ahead and watch these friendly matches. I recommend you to watch the Netherlands versus Norway game. That game tomorrow is gonna be really good. And if you can watch the Spain versus Serbia game, you know, they begin like 20 or 15 minutes later. So if you can watch the final minutes of the Spain versus Serbia game, that will be really good, because all of those games that are on Tuesday are going to be really competitive. But my personal recommendation is that you see the Netherlands versus Norway game. Other than that, I don't have nothing to say. France, they are really dangerous, and when they find out the last two things that they have to do, they are going to go really deep in the World Cup. And Brazil, you know, they have to find their identity still, but they have talent, and if they do, they're gonna be dangerous too. Other than that, please go ahead and have a good day.
Clinical as always, in front of goal. Mental preparation is such a big part of this. And confidently converted. He had to score, and he does. And he steps up to take the shot. And he scores! Oh, a superb save. Goalkeeper beaten from the spot. And so the tension levels have been ratcheted up to full blast. And he's beaten the keeper. And now a heaven-sent opportunity to win the match. Engulfed by all the pressure, he nevertheless puts it away to win this penalty shootout.
Well, it's a good penalty. He showed a lot of composure there, and overall, they probably just about deserved to win this game.